Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? It's wee Paddy from across the shuck, and you're very welcome to the channel. One little announcement before I start. Unfortunately, our live tonight, well, it's going ahead, so that's fortunate. But Justin has had to bow out. He's really ill. He's got a real, I think it's a dose of the flu he's got. He's been in a terrible state the last couple of days. So, and he's not feeling any better today. So, Rasputin's Castle has kindly stepped in to replace him tonight, and it's for a special reason. So it'll be another announcement that I think that you'll want to hear. I actually feel like I'm cheating on Justin, but that's by the by. He's not worth it. Anyway, take care. The video I'm going to talk about today is: does Ganzo still have a place in the knife community? And my simple answer to that is yes. And I'm going to prove to you why. Well, I hope I'm going to prove to you why. When I first started, I compared this knife, which is a Ganzo, to a Spyderco Delica, which this is a looky-likey. It's more of their other model, but, you know, it's the same size, and this one's the same size. Here's the thing that goes on. In the knife world, everything changes, and it changes usually about once a year, once every 2 years. You get a big explosion of change. Everybody follows another pattern, and other knives get left behind. And I can honestly say in my collection, the one thing that I've not let go of is how good Ganzos are, because that's what I had the most of when I first came into the knife community. They were fabulous for the money. And I wasn't willing to spend a whole lot of money. The Delica was the most expensive one I had for a long while. And my wife bought me that for Christmas, and it was a super Christmas present. So I've moved on. Now one of my best knives is this. Well, I believe this is the best non-locking knife out there, full stop. Modern knife. This is my Dewalt XM18. It is just a wonder. It's the wonder of science. It's a wonder of development, and somebody who spent time going through every part of it. Now, I have reviews on this up. Please go and see one. If you'd like a fresh one, I can do that, but let me know down below. This was the exact same colour. It's not the same knife, because I had many of these knives, because at the time I could get these for about £9. There you go. But now, the price of these now is, I'm just looking at £17. I found it in the UK today. £17. This is 300 and, oh God, what is this? This is over £300 now, about £300 for one of these. If you can get them, they're quite hard to get now. But, you know, this would be my standard now. But this little knife is still a standard that I hold highly. It's a fantastic EDC knife. If you're just starting out and you want to find out what sort of knives you like, Ganzo were brilliant for getting you very close to what the real thing was. Now, not in the high-end materials, but in looks, in feel. And the Spidey hole is a Spidey oval. The Ganzo had that. They called it, on all their logos, it was called a Ganzo. They put enough on it so that people couldn't try to rub it off, but it wasn't a Delica. You know, it just wasn't a Delica. It's that shape, and it's very, very similar. Like an awful lot of knives are today. If you just go into, let's say one, for instance, Civivi, they have so many shapes out there. A lot of them cross over to other patterns, and that's absolutely fine. I don't have any problem with that, because I'm a traditional person, and there isn't this fuss about taking a copy, because traditional knives are all made on certain patterns. So all of them are the same, and you're judged on how good yours is. It's not the same with locking knives. It is definitely not the same. There's very much more of an influence of, oh, you shouldn't buy China knives in the locking knives. And I love my locking knives, and I have them from all over the place. But there is that stigma still going with the locking knives, the modern locking knives. Blade steels. Let me just take this out of the way, because it's a bit of an unfair advantage. The Spyderco range have been copied a lot. This is a, you know, it's not a copy because it's not the same. The Spyderco Delicate doesn't have a forward joy like this. Their other model does, and it has a hole similar to that, but it doesn't have the same. It's just not the same. It's close, but not the same. Here is a little dragonfly, which I only got this year. I bought this off Justin, or traded it off with Justin. This little beauty here will cost me £91 to buy. £91. It's got VG10. If I wanted to buy the Delica over here in the UK today, £109 for the Delica. So they look much alike. FRN handles. These are maybe a little bit more sophisticated and rounded off than this. But today I can go out and buy this for £17 rather than 91 or 109. I don't have a Delica at the minute. I'm actually on the look for one. But 91 or 109 for a Delica or a Dragonfly. That's a hell of a jump in price. And what do I get extra for that? I get the Spyderco name. Yep. I get the same handle materials. Yep. The blade steels, are they different? A little bit. This is 440C. This is VG10. These are the basic models, and that's what I'm going to be comparing all these two basic models. Is there a huge difference in 440C and VG10? I'd be very, very surprised. Now, depending on geometry, all them other things that you want to throw in just to confuse it. As a knife, as an EDC knife, I'd be very surprised if you could tell any difference between these two. The VG10 is the better steel, but not by a whole lot. Not by, what is it, 80 odd pound. 70 odd for the Dragonfly, 80 odd for the Delica. It's not that much better at all. Just, as far as the blade goes. Now, if you like this company and you love their design better than this, absolutely, you can buy whatever you want. I'm not telling anybody what to buy. This conversation is about what to recommend. An awful lot of people come round now and they're starting in at really high-end knives because that's what people are telling them to buy. They're encouraged to buy high-end. And when I'm saying high-end, anything over £50 that somebody comes around who's not really been into a knife is considered in their head, it was in mine, as high-end. But there's so many out there. We have so many companies out there that are bringing out knives at that, this mid-range price rise, as people call it. But 440C is a great steel. It strops easily, so you'll get longevity out of the blade. This strops well, absolutely. It lasts maybe a little bit less than VG10, but again, I don't think if the two blades were exactly the same, you could tell that much difference in any given day. I honestly don't believe it's not that much of a difference. That's my opinion. Again, you can have yours if you like, but there we go. So there's one that compares very good with the Spyderco, the cheaper Spyderco models at 90 odd pound. This is 17. So do you know what I mean? This is a hell of a difference. So, and it's got that look and feel that you're going to use. You've got the mid-back lock. You've got the hole to open it with. And for somebody that's coming in, I would recommend this much more than I would a Dragonfly. Get this first to see what you think of it. Because it's so similar, it's not worth that extra money to buy it, to me. But again, if you want the name, you go and get it. And that's fair play. Here's another one that I hear bandied about all the time. This is the Rat 1. This is, and the original version, this is an Oz 8. Fantastic knife. Everybody says how well it opens, and, it's on a liner lock, which sometimes people say they don't like liner locks, and then they'll recommend this because it's done well. But it's not the only one that's done well. Do you know what I mean? It's not the only one. You have options. Now, this is a budget knife. This to buy today in the UK is it's strange. It's 59 for the Rat 2 in Oz 8, and it's 54 for the Rat 1 in Oz 8, where I looked for it. There we go. So say 50 odd. The option that Ganzo gave us at the time was this knife. Opens lovely. I didn't do that particularly well, but you have an axis lock, or a G lock as they called it, because the axis lock was still legal, still under warranty. This is absolutely just drop dead shut. This is a beautiful knife. This is absolutely stunning. This is much better as a knife if you like to fidget a bit more. if the blade shape is exactly the same, it's a little bit shorter than the Rat 1, but it has an axis lock, so it's not a Rat 1. You know, there is differences enough to say it's not a Rat 1. And if you just look at any of the knives out there that looky likey, there's very little difference. There's a big difference in the locking system in this, from a liner lock to a G lock, which is a much stronger lock, I think, anyway. But, I mean, as far as it goes, it's got a lot of the similarities as a handle. It's a bit smaller. This one actually fits, there's my hand, fits in my hand much better than the Rat 1. The Rat 1 is a fairly big handle. And I have a large hand. Look at how much is coming out the back of that. I don't need that extra. Because in the Rat 1, you can really choke up. There's a lovely flat area in the Rat 1 that you can choke up to. But then I'm left with even more sticking out the back, which is, it just doesn't feel right. You know, the agility in knife's not the same. But with this, when my hand is on this, it comes just to the end of my hand. So it's perfect for a large hand. But if you had a bigger hand, it also has that move up there to the front, and I'm not sticking out the back. I've got complete control of my hand. So I could price this today in the UK at, what did I price this at? 25, sorry, £25 I could get this in the UK. Now, if you're in America, Ganzo has their own shop over there, and I'm sure you can get them cheaper. But 25 to 50, say, that's half price. And you're getting 440C against Oz 8. 440C is better than Oz 8. But in this sort of scenario, there's not that much difference. If you put the two of them on the same knife with the same geometry, you're not going to get a huge difference. And it's the opposite way with the Delica and the Ganzo in 440. It's VG10 against 40. So this is reversed. This is a better steel than that. And people often recommend this. Now, this is made in friendly China, Taiwan. So does that make it better? I don't know. I just don't know. It's a foreign knife to me, no matter where it's from. If it's not from the UK, it's foreign. So foreign's foreign. We all like to buy in our own country. That's fair enough. That's what we should do. And I do as often as I can. But there's other countries out there that make knives. And this might be Chinese. That might be Taiwanese. This is a better knife to me because you get that. A lot of people like fidgety knives. I'm not particularly one of them at all. But they get that great lock, great blade, better steel, and yet will always recommend the Rat 1. Why? Why do I always say, does nobody not recommend this knife? Because you can still get it, and it's half the price of that. And when you're starting out, you want to get things to see whether you like them or not. And if you get this and think the Rat 1's going to be a better pick, and by the way, I'll tell you now, if you do, I'll not understand it, because this isn't even G10. This is just another cheaper form of plastic. This is G10. So there's quite a lot of differences between that, and yet it's twice the price. And I know it's in the budget range for a lot of people, but if you're on a budget, half price is a hell of a difference. Do you know what I mean? It's a hell of a difference. And here's one knife that I would recommend more than any of them. If you want to get into knife making, you maybe Spydercos are a bit too expensive, and I haven't got one of these at the minute. Here's the Ganzo's answer to the PM2, one of the most popular knives in the world. Spyderco make it. It's a great knife, a great all-round knife, not particularly one that I am over fond of. One, because of the price that it's got to now. The Paru 2, a Paru 2 over here in the UK today is £217. That's just feckin' ridiculous, if you don't mind me swearing. Well, it's not really swearing, but £217. Now, I didn't set this up. Today in the UK, I can buy this version of the Ganzo for £27, which is which is £190 cheaper than a Paru 2. Now, the Paru 2 will have a powdered steel. It'll be S30V. This is 440C. Can it match? S30V will last much longer. But 44C will still should last you a day as an EDC knife. Now, if you're a joiner or somebody who's going to use it heavy at work, Yeah, I'll go for the Paru if you want longevity. But if you want a knife that's just a beater on a building site that will do exactly the same kind of cutting tasks and maybe not last as long, but it's easily stropped, easily sharpened in your tea break, and it'll get you through any day with very, very little problem. A little piece of leather to strop it will probably get you through the day if you don't let it go too dull. It's a super, super option. And if you want to carry a little pencil or a pen sharpener, just get it. Throw it on there. A couple of swipes in your tea break or a dinner break. It'll get you through the rest of the day. No problem at all. Guaranteed. And I have used this. I've done cut tests with it. It's fantastic. It's just a great knife. But yet everybody says, oh, what do you want to get? Oh, the Paru 2's the knife or the Paru 3's the knife. And yes, they are lovely knives. I like the Paru 3 only in G10. But to me, it's a fantastic knife. Would I recommend this over it? For somebody who's just beginning, yes, get the feel of what it's like. Just get the feel of what it's like to have that sort of a shape, that sort of a design. Do you like it? Is it going to feel nice in your hands? Because there's an awful lot of people don't like Spydercos and their shape as do. Because Spyderco don't make things for prettiness a lot of the time. It's just function. They make it. They want it to work more than they want it to look good. And they succeed. Absolutely. They've made their money on succeeding in that. But this is just a fantastic option at £27. And again, with 440C. All mine are 440C. When they went to D2, I stopped buying Ganzo because the knives weren't as good to me. I just didn't get them. Now, again, that's just me, and it's like anybody else who wants to buy a Spyderco. You have the choice to do everything. But I'm talking about recommendations. And this is, I'm going to get back to, because I'm guilty of all this. This is not just me, sort of criticizing other people. I'm guilty of it. But if somebody's just coming in, I would recommend this to give them an idea of what a Spyderco looks like and feels like in the hand, much like I would this. So, here's another Spyderco. I'm going to put this down in front of you. The Spidey Chef. £329 here in the UK. I love it. I think it's an amazing knife. Love it to death. Now, are Ganzo going to come up to anything that will match this? No. But you do have options of like a chef's knife if you want to. Look, when we all come around, we just used kitchen knives or whatever. I use this in the kitchen because I just love the shape, the feel. I love what it is. It's got a fantastic blade steel. It doesn't rust. It's super. Here's Ganzo's version of a chef's knife. Is it this? No, it's not the same. But it has an axis lock or a G lock. Again, I'll go back to that. Now, I have used the hell. Excuse this. I could sort of try and fix it up, but it's just not worth it, to be honest with you. This is lovely. The Spidey clip on it. You've got the axis lock on it. It's just a lovely big chef's knife. Now, look, the blade steels is going to be a little bit thicker on the Ganzo. You can see there it's going to be a little bit thicker. So the geometry is not going to be as good as this because they're both full flat grounds. This is a little bit thicker behind the edge. But it's nonetheless a great little knife for in the kitchen. I am not a sous chef. I'm not a trained cookery person. This does me lovely. I chop like this. I don't do it that fast. I just chop it up. I cut meat up. This is actually super. If you wanted to use your penknife in the kitchen or as a camp knife, you're going to a barbecue, take this with you. It'll chop your ribs up and whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's just a super knife. It costs £29. Will it do everything this will do? Yeah, maybe not quite as good. But this is the thing, that you've got a price of $329, and this wasn't fixed either. This one is £29 today in the UK. I mean, if somebody's coming around, why would you recommend something this price, which is just vastly overpriced, to be honest with you? But I like it, so I have it. So there you go. So I have that inner me after a lot of years. I do like the higher end knives. But for value for money, I mean, this is going to win every day because it has a good steel in 440C, which was one of the top of the range steels 20 years ago. Now, it's not anymore. It's way down the list, but it's still a flipping good steel. And it still sharpens easy, strops easy, everything you want in a little knife. It's the same size, roughly, as that Spidey Chef. Bit less blade, and it's in carbon fibre. But I mean, it's just a great knife. You can sneak up on it. You can't sneak up on this, but you can sneak right up on this if you want to do, if you're in the woods or whatever, you want to do feather sticking, you can use this. It'll do anything. All knives will do anything, just some better than others. But so Ganzo, again, they give you an option if you want something that little bit fancy. And I'll bet you, if you're just new around, your mates are not going to have anything that look like this. Especially over here in the UK, where knife carrying is not a popular thing. So a great recommend. And we were talking about the Rat 1. I have the Ganzo copy of the Rat 1. I also have the Ganzo copy of the Rat 2, which is an absolute stunning little knife. Again, it's got an axis lock, much better lock than the liner lock, in my opinion. This is like glass. This just drops. It's just lovely. Really, I think because I probably use this more than the other ones I do. It's a nice small knife to carry in your pocket. If you're going, for me, if I'm going to do work that I don't know, it might be, you know, a bit rough and ready to work. This will definitely, this or the Ganzo, the bigger version of this, will do. But I absolutely adore this knife. I think it's fantastic. It's a great little EDC secondary carry if you want, but this will do me all my day. 440C again. All the Ganzos that I've shown are 440C, and I just adore them. You're getting G10 rather than the old Oz 8 model, which I priced it against, which is, again, this is half price, £25, half the price of the real thing. Not the real thing, because this is the real thing. Ganzo made it, and it's different. So there, I mean, that's sort of roughly what I'm saying. A couple of them knives that I just want to talk about now, outside of that. These were a couple that were made for me by subscribers. Look at that. Got all the little shamrocks all over the blades of the knife. I just love this, stonewashed. It's a super knife. I absolutely adore it. And this is another one. I don't know what model this is because the heavy stone washing is taken off and I just can't remember. But I think it was a copy of some sort of a Benchmade, if I'm honest. You know, it was not a copy, but it was something, a looky-likey. But it had the, you know, it has the axis lock. It has the disc thumb stud. I haven't used this one in a while, and it does need a bit of oil. But it's a beautiful, look at that. It's got PPP on it, which is on my channel header. What a beautiful, even all these had been anodized, all the screws. These are two knives that are just amazing, that I got right back in the beginning of my journey. And they are every bit. That's the Rat 1 copy, and this one I'm not sure, but I think it was I do think it was a copy of a Benchmade of some sort. I just can't bring it to mind. But anyhow. So, do Ganzo have a place in the modern knife world? I think that I have proved to you that these simple little knives at a simple price and a very reasonable price for what they are giving you compared to the bigger companies out there, I think they compare amazingly well. Amazingly well. And I think I'm going to, and I'm not getting paid by Ganzo. I used to get knives, I got knives for free for a few years of Ganzo. Tons of them. So I do know a little bit of what I'm talking about, and I had to test them because I was trying to prove to other people how good they were. So I know the heat treat is really pretty good. Not outstanding, but it lasted exactly what it should do for that 440C blade. It was great. There were so many people tested them because everybody wanted to prove it wrong, but they weren't. They were constantly pretty good, and for the price, I don't think they can be beaten. I really don't think. They're a fantastic knife to recommend. They very rarely break down. I have never had a spring go in a G-lock, and I've had 1, 2, I think it's 4 gone on the Benchmades. Now, I'm not saying Benchmades are bad. I've got them in there. I love them. They really are nice high-end knives. These are not. These are just get-it-done knives. And if you want to try a particular style, that's what I would recommend Ganzos for, rather than going straight to a Spyderco, because these are fractions of the price. I'm not just picking on Spyderco. There are lots of other knives, and I'm sure they look like somebody else's knife, but it just doesn't bother me as much as I see it bothering other people. And 440C, please. Honestly, it's just a fantastic budget steel, as they call it now, but it wasn't always budget. And all these steels will be, all the steels we have today will be budget in the future. And it's just the way knife. That's how they sell more knives. They come out with another super steel. And yeah, it's nice to have them. I like having them in my collection. I've never dulled one of them yet. So, I mean, I don't know how good they are because I've never used one, you know, continuously. If my knife starts to go dull, I have tried to keep using it and using it. I can't. I come home at night and I stop it. I just can't stop myself doing it because I don't like having a dull knife, especially if I go out and somebody who knows me as a knife person will pull me up for having it. Well, not pull me up. I will feel embarrassed if my knife isn't great. Has it happened? Yeah. But I don't like it to happen. There you go. I hope you find that interesting. And, you know, it's as much about 440C steel. And another person, Rasputin, who's on, put a beautiful video up last night about 8CR13. Please go and check that out in his video. We'll probably talk about it in the live tonight. But he done really good research. Mine is waffle. But mine is my review on this 440 steel and their knives that Ganzo make is experience, because I have had tons of them, in the many tens of Ganzo knives, and I have not had a bad knife. Maybe it wasn't centered particularly well, but I've never had one rubbed the sides that I can think of offhand. I never have one that I've had a problem with that's broke down. And I mean, I abused these because that's what I was doing in the beginning, trying to prove how good they were. Anyhow, I've waffled on long enough. Thank you so much. How long have I gone on for? Good gosh, nearly half an hour again. Sorry, folks, but I just enjoy having this little chat with you. Makes my day. I love sharing it with you. And please subscribe if you're not subscribed. Please, like, whether you like it or not, just put it down, like or not like. It makes such a huge difference. I'm not getting paid by YouTube anymore, so I don't have any income coming in anymore to pay for these knives. The only way I get it is well, selling knives I got and moving it on. It's a bit different now, but that's the way it is. We'll maybe talk about that again because there's something I would love to change in that. Anyhow, I can see, I just keep going. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you tonight for the live if you're about. Take care now. Bye-bye.